There is one stabilizing word in the Bible that Christians need to keep before them all the time. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted throughout the earth. We're Christians, and we are to play the part of Christians in such abnormally distraught days as these. One of our great journalists said a little while ago in an article that it behooved Christians to summon themselves afresh in a very faithful way, so to speak and to work and to live as to enhearten and fortify a world troubled like the world is today. One wonders each day what the next day will bring forth. We're to keep our eyes on God and act up to all that He gives us, and then we may unfearingly leave ourselves in His blessed hand. There is an incident given us in the 14th chapter of Matthew, which was read you a while ago at the beginning of the service, which has in it some very revealing lessons for us. May the divine Spirit, the author of this word, lead us into the apprehension of some of these lessons this morning, according to the will of God. The heart of the incident is stated in this sentence. His disciples came to him, saying, "Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves victuals." But Jesus said unto them, "They need not depart. Give ye them to eat." This miracle, as many of you must know, is the only miracle recorded by all four of the evangelists, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It is one of the most instructive incidents in all the New Testament. You will recall the setting for this text that I've announced. John the Baptist had just been beheaded by order of the cruel Herod and Herodias. His disciples took up his body and buried it, and went and told Jesus, and he withdrew himself into the wilderness. And great multitudes followed him on foot out of the city, out of the town. They wanted to be near him. They wanted to see him. They wanted to hear him. They wanted to have his word and hand of help. Great multitudes followed him. And so he was out there in the desert with thousands around him. And the day wore on toward nightfall. And there was increasing restlessness among Christ's little band of disciples. And as the day went on toward the approaching night, these disciples came to Jesus and said to him, "Master, the day is far spent. The night is near at hand. See these thousands, the women with their little children. We'll have a panic here directly. They must have something to eat, and we're in a desert place. Get rid of them. Send these thousands away. Send them into the villages hard by, that they may buy themselves victuals. Let's be absolved from them and absented from them." And he made the wonderful reply that why they needn't depart. "Give ye them to eat." "How much have you got?" They said, 5 loaves and 2 small fishes. "Bring them to me." And lifting his eyes to heaven, he blessed them, and then brake them, and gave them to the disciples, and said to them, "Give ye these now to the people." And they were all fed, about 5,000 men, not counting the women and the children. 'Tisn't any wonder that the incident closed with a statement of the people of a truth. Thou art the Son of God. Now there are vivid lessons in the incident for us today. First of all, we see that great lesson standing out, which is the most comforting lesson in all the Bible, namely, the compassion of our Savior and Lord for the people. He was moved with compassion when he saw the multitudes, beheld them, all types and temperaments and conditions and ages, the old and the young, the strong and the weak, the rich and the poor, the high and the low, people of various ages and races and conditions. He was moved with compassion. He felt with them. That's what compassion means. He felt with the people. Prophet Ezekiel had the same sort of feeling when he said of the people in his day among whom he lived and wrought and witnessed, I sat where they sat. I understand my people. I know their needs, their burdens, their dangers, their battles, their trials. I sat where they sat. Oh, how significant this word compassion. He was moved with compassion toward the people. He felt with them. He sensed their needs. He sensed their dangers. And highest of all, he sensed their possibilities. Oh, the grandeur of a human life, the grandeur of it. It may be besotted. It may be in the depths of drink and lust and sin. Oh, the grandeur of a human life. To live on somewhere, personal and conscious, forever. What can compare with that? And we're to keep this sacred estimate of human personality. We're to keep that ever before us. That's the great teaching of Jesus. Nobody ever taught it like he taught it. What shall it profit a man if he shall gain Dallas County, Texas, North America, all the Americas, Europe, Asia, and Africa, the islands of the sea? What shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Jesus gives us that great appraisement of human personality. And the tragedy of this world this minute is that in large sections and on wholesale scale, men are being treated as mere cogs in a machine and ground to death with the awful horrors of war. Oh, what an answer. What an answer some men will have tomorrow at the bar of God. One thinks of Napoleon when his men remonstrated with him once, as he said, I want 100,000 men to go on this daring adventure. This daring adventure. And his officers drew near him and said, Sire, Sire, you'll lose all those men if you send them on this desperate adventure, 100,000 of them. And with a scornful curl of his lips, he said, what are 100,000 men to me? Think of man's view of life like that. That little hungry child today down yonder in the tent on the outskirts of this city, which tent and surroundings are all marked by squalor and poverty. That little thing is intrinsically worth more than every dollar in every bank in the world. Jesus sensed the possibilities of life, the possibilities of a human life, and we are to have his spirit. As was he in the world, so are we to be. So are we to be. The man who can be careless and indifferent to any human life doesn't have Jesus' spirit, doesn't have his viewpoint. You must not, may not, dare not be careless touching any life of any age or condition or circumstance of your race and the other races. Human life is the precious thing in the sight of the great God who is over us all. And we are to keep that high estimate, Christ's appraisal of the measureless meaning of human personality. We are to keep that before us all the time. And all our standards are to keep that in mind. and all our ideals and all our efforts, if we should spend all the money in the world from every quarter, and it should be sanctified of God to win one poor, little, bedraggled life from sin to God, the money would be well spent, for human life's worth more than it all. Jesus was moved with compassion. Oh, how the sight of the crowds does move us. You can see them. You can stand on any city, this city, and stand on a corner 10 minutes and see them surging up and down the streets. Seamy faces, careworn faces, eager faces, apprehensive faces, fearful faces, happy faces, some. Oh, the problem of the multitude. The problem of the multitude. And if we don't watch, we'll be utterly depressed and cast down. These disciples with Jesus, as the day wore away and night came on, said, Master, send these people away. It'll be night directly, and you've got nothing out here in the desert for them to eat. Send them away. Send them away, that they may buy themselves victuals. Anything to get them out of our sight. Let's be away. We'll have a panic here. We'll have all these babies crying for something to eat, and their mothers will be helpless to pacify them, for we have nothing to eat out here. And he said they need not depart. What have you got? Oh, they said, we've got 5 loaves and 2 small fishes, very little fishes. What are these among so many? Well, you bring them to me. And he invoked God's blessing upon them, and the multiplying power of God came down on the 5 loaves and 2 little fishes. And then he gave them to his disciples and said, pass these out to these people. And all were fed, and 12 baskets full were gathered up of the fragments. Some 5,000 men, beside the women and the children. Oh, this is the way God does it. We are following a divine Savior, a divine Savior.